It may seem that the story of you is chaotic. However, in reality, it is not. The more stories you I suppose I will start at the very beginning. Chapter 1. Once upon a time, there lived Yu. Despite his unusual name, his life was hardly any. It was an unusually usual day when he was getting ready to go to work. 2 hours of sleep. What a. He was used to working at night. That morning, this was not by chance. It reminded him that there were only 3 workdays before his holiday, and there was no room for mistakes. His room in a communal apartment was. Having got dressed, he quietly walked past the neighbors' rooms into the hall. Somebody was snoring loudly in the furthest room. He walked up to the front door and accidentally stepped on a pile of letters. Picking up the thought that next Sunday, a huge stone would be removed from the entrance to the crypt of his existence by the power of labor legislation kept Yu going. Glancing at the address line, a chill went through Yu's. Yu was confused by the seal on the envelope, indicating the place of departure, No Leave Grad. Is she really coming back to Cannot? Yu wondered. Dear Yu, my doctor's suspicions are confirmed. I have the same disease that struck you. I thought it over and decided that we need to break up. It may seem that things like that should bring people closer, but he felt dizzy. The trip to work took him by a few blocks, but the road seemed endless that way. Though Yu suffered from excessive hypochondria, he really had an incurable disease. He clearly remembered that. Since that moment, he stopped counting new birthmarks on his body. As soon as he reached the park, he saw a pack of street dogs rushing. Deja vu! Yu's heart dropped. Time. Wishing to regain taking it for insolence, the mongrels became even angrier. Without slowing down, the barking slowly. His father yielded up, silent.
Why do I feel fear? All is shining near. Why am I still here? Future can be clear. I can fix my time today, so give me fuel, give me juice. It would be my only way, 'cause I
Chap. Despite it wasn't a two, he was used. this. It reminded him that there were only his room and a cup. Having got dressed, he walked. The trip to work took him by several blocks. He considered early morning to be an extremely pleasant time of day. As soon as he went into the park, he saw his eyes caught. It was unclear what had made you so anxious. Fear of dogs, or of being late to work. He distanced himself from reality. However, the picture of the kid falling down on the ground, breaking skin on his knees, you immediately felt nauseous. Just like in order to justify his actions to himself. Before the latter could say anything, you ran away to avoid further conversation. He was almost there when he saw his boss enter the office building. He took it as his personal failure, although his watch showed that he still had several minutes. You barely got into the office when he noticed two male silhouettes behind him. He turned around to see his boss and a man he had never seen before, a little further away. Figuring that they would have to be introduced to each other, he turned to the stranger. My name is Frank. To avoid unnecessary explanations, you took a name tag from his table and pointed to it. Yes, despite the fact that there was no live communication with... Wow! It is the only unusual... An awkward pause hung in the air. The boss, standing behind Frank. Frank is our security guard starting today. Who? A security guard. Some of my important documents are missing. There are only two of us. What kind of documents? That I cannot... You mean you suspect me? No, I do not. Eliminating any opportunity to continue this conversation, the boss turned around. The room plunged into silence. You found... Glad... You was confused by the seal on the envelope. Suddenly, there was a curious voice. Dear you, my doctor's suspicions are confirmed. I have the same disease that struck you. I thought it over and decided that we need to break up. It may seem that something like this should bring people closer, but it would be unfair to myself. We can... He felt... Another... The newly appointed watchman dozed off at his improvised post and ordered... Yu was sitting at his sturdy desk, imagining again and again how the shelves, stocked with books... Allowing himself a little break, Yu took his diary from his table drawer and made a note. I never took a plate of soup at school lunches, even when I really wanted to. I was afraid to spill it in front of everyone, but I could put it on the table. There was Chapter 2. On the second day of work, covering... Excuse me. I wish I could narrate a little faster and keep you from getting bored, but Let's continue. Returning such violence. You gripped his diary. The shelves of. You did not. There was. Engulfed with righteous anger. The holes from the missing.